The Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to John.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
Now a certain man was ill, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with perfume and wiped his feet with her hair. Her brother Lazarus was ill. So the sisters sent a message to Jesus, "Lord, he whom you love is ill." But when Jesus heard it, he said, "This illness does not lead to death. Rather, it is for God's glory, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." Accordingly, though Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus, after having heard that Lazarus was ill, he stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then, after this, he said to the disciples, "Let us go to Judea again." The disciples said to him, "Rabbi, the Jews were just now trying to stone you, and are you going there again?" Jesus answered, "Are there not 12 hours of daylight? Those who walk during the day do not stumble because they see the light of this world, but those who walk at night stumble because the light is not in them." After saying this, he told them, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to awaken him." The disciples said to him, "Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will be all right." Jesus, however, had been speaking about his death, but they thought that he was referring merely to sleep. Then Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus is dead. For your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." Thomas, who was called the Twin, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, while Mary stayed at home. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, "Take the stone away." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, already there is a stench because he has been dead 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked upward and said, Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come with Mary and had seen what Jesus did, believed in him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
The Gospel for this morning provides us with a rich opportunity to reflect on resurrection. And while resurrection is obviously the central theme of Easter, it has been my experience that when Easter actually arrives, most of us are not really up for the task of thinking theologically about resurrection. Most of us on Easter, particularly those who only think about church around the times of Christmas and Easter, most of us are ready for the joyous proclamation of the resurrection. We want to hear the good news without necessarily looking at its implications and perhaps the hard questions that it raises. And that is really as it should be. There's no one more ready than I to gather on Easter to sound the glad notes of joy. But once every 3 years, when this Lazarus story rolls around, we have the opportunity to spend a few moments considering resurrection and its meaning for our lives apart from all the hubbub of Easter. So to begin with, this is a story about the death of Lazarus and a story about his being brought back to life. As with much of the Bible, our text presents this story to us as a real story about a real death and a real bringing back to life. There are, of course, plenty of fundamentalists who would maintain that the story is precisely that, a wonder-filled account of the miraculous intervention of Jesus into the natural order of things, a factual telling of factual events. But whether you think of this as a factual event, that's really not the point. Whether you believe it or not, the historical veracity of this story simply does not matter. What matters is what it means. What matters is what it says, and what it says, the heart of this story, can be found in the brief exchange between Martha and Jesus. Jesus says to Martha, "Your brother will rise again." "I know he will rise again," Martha replies, "in the resurrection on the last day." Martha misunderstands what Jesus is saying. She thinks that he is talking literally. She thinks that he is thinking or talking about the belief that some people held, a belief in a literal resurrection that would happen at the end of all things. But that's not what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about the future. No, as his next statement makes completely clear, Jesus is talking about the here and now. "I am the resurrection and the life," Jesus says. Right here, Martha, right now, not at some distant future moment, but resurrection now. "I am the resurrection," he says. Resurrection life, active, present, and powerful in the world right now. There's a novel that I have not reread since college. It's by Aldous Huxley, and it's called Island. It's about a man shipwrecked on an island. One of the first things this man encounters is a mynah bird incessantly calling out, "Here and now, boys! Here and now, boys!" As the novel goes on, it becomes clear that these mynah birds are proclaiming the essential theme of the book. What matters, what always matters, is the present, not the past, not the future, the eternal present moment. We live in the now, or we do not live at all. It is this character and quality of nowness that is for Christians a source of both comfort and of challenge, both our joy and our responsibility. Resurrection is always about the here and now, or it really doesn't matter what happened there and then. This means that we don't have to wait to die in order to live. It means we're not subject to the powers of death. Like Lazarus, we have been unbound from the brutal clothes of death, set free to live. But of course the challenge is that we are set free to live, not for the sake of ourselves, but always for the sake of others. If we would proclaim the resurrection of Jesus, we must always do so knowing that Jesus is not raised for his own sake. Jesus is raised always for the sake of others, and so are we. And if the resurrection spirit of the one who died for others now dwells in us, then we too are called to give ourselves for the sake of others. And that's the rub. Resurrection calls us both to newness and to nowness. Resurrection lays claim to our hearts and our lives, and it demands that we live now, right now, for the sake of all those who do not have, for the sake of all those who are denied, for the sake of all those who know only death and not life. Here and now, boy. Here and now, girls. Here and now. Ours is a time, a society, and a culture that is increasingly ready and willing to ignore the needs of God's children. We live in a time when those who have are more glad to have more, when those who have not are being told they must have less. Ours is increasingly a world openly tolerant, if not out and out pursuant, of a growing divide between the rich and the poor. And lest any of us get too smug, like it or not, there is not one of us listening to this video or sitting in the room where I'm preaching it, who by the standards of the rest of the world, there's not one of us who's not wealthy. There are many of us who may feel like we don't have much, but we've got far more than most of our sisters and brothers around the globe. Resurrection life, the life that we have been given, is a life that cannot and will not tolerate such injustice. It is a life that knows that justice delayed truly is justice denied. Justice like resurrection happens now, or it simply does not happen. What this means is that we are called to seek justice on behalf of those who do not have it. We are called to speak and to act on behalf of the dispossessed, the disenfranchised. In the words of our baptismal covenant, we are a people dedicated to striving for justice and peace among all people, and to respecting the dignity of every human being. So that's it. You can probably see why I wanted to deal with all this resurrection stuff before we got to Easter. Because while the proclamation of the resurrection is definitely good news, it's also bad news. The good news, of course, is that God has bestowed upon us the fullness of life right now. And the bad news? Yep, God has bestowed upon us the fullness of life right now. Life is given to us so that we might give life to others. That's all there is to it. Until next time, here's an old favorite, Manifesto, the Mad Farmer Liberation Front, read by David Kern.
Manifesto, the Mad Farmer Liberation Front by Wendell Love the quick profit, the annual raise, vacation with pay. Want more of everything ready-made. Be afraid to know your neighbors and to die, and you will have a window in your head. Not even your future will be a mystery anymore. Your mind will be punched in a card and shut away in a little drawer. When they want you to buy something, they will call you. When they want you to die for profit, they will let you know. So friends, every day do something that won't compute. Love the Lord. Love the world. Work for nothing. Take all that you have and be poor. Love someone who does not deserve it. Denounce the government and embrace the flag. Hope to live in that free republic for which it stands. Give your approval to all you cannot understand. Praise ignorance, for what man has not encountered he has not destroyed. Ask the questions that have no answers. Invest in the millennium. Plant sequoias. Say that your main crop is the forest that you did not plant, that you will not live to harvest. Say that the leaves are harvested when they have rotted into the mold. Call that profit. Prophesy such returns. Put your faith in the 2 inches of humus that will build under the trees every 1,000 years. Listen to carrion. Put your ear close and hear the faint chattering of the songs that are to come. Expect the end of the world. Laugh. Laughter is immeasurable. Be joyful, though you have considered all the facts. So long as women do not go cheap for power, please women more than men. Ask yourself, will this satisfy a woman satisfied to bear a child? Will this disturb the sleep of a woman near to giving birth? Go with your love to the fields. Lie easy in the shade. Rest your head in her lap. Swear allegiance to what is nighest your thoughts. As soon as the generals and the politicos can predict the motions of your mind, lose it. Leave it as a sign to mark the false trail, the way you didn't go. Be like the fox who makes more tracks than necessary, some in the wrong direction. Practice resurrection.